Hey there, this is Katrina from Kernel. We help MSL teams demonstrate their value by creating software that was specifically designed to gather and analyze medical insights. I'm going to give you a demo of what that looks like in Kernel. Let's get started. Let's begin with the why. Why do we get up every day and why do we go to work? Why are we in this industry? Well, we're in the business of human health and making patients' lives better. Here's an example for you. This is a photo of my 3-year-old niece, Neva. She inherited a point mutation in the GJB2 gene from her dad and a deletion in the GJB6 gene from my sister. These genes encode proteins called connexins. These are very important in cell-to-cell communication throughout the body, but especially in the inner ear. So what happens in Neva's ears is that a sound wave is not converted into an electrical signal. So her brain doesn't understand that she's heard something. She has significant hearing loss in both of her ears, and she'll never be able to hear as well as we do. But thanks to the work of a countless number of basic researchers, doctors, and companies, she now has a set of these. So with her hearing aids, she can now hear more like we do. I bring up this example for 2 reasons. One, to show you how cute my niece is, and then also to highlight that this is exactly why we are in this industry. It's to help make the life of another human being better. So how do MSL teams or medical affairs teams relate to this whole process? Well, it's oftentimes said that the most valuable thing that an MSL brings to the organization are insights. So what is an insight? Every company and every person will have a slightly different definition, but here we've loosely defined it as a discovery that informs medical strategy. So how does an insight go from being gathered in the field by an MSL to getting communicated internally and informing medical strategy? Many companies have some kind of insights process in place, and this is a defined method on how the insights are going to be gathered, analyzed, reported, and then presented to internal stakeholders in order to inform medical strategy. This simple diagram is highlighting this process, and I'll point out that Kernel was really designed to help you with these 3 middle steps: the gathering, analyzing, and reporting of insights. And that's what I'll show you during the demo today. So the first step in this process is that an MSL will be out in the field meeting with key people in their disease community and engaging in scientific exchanges. The MSL will learn something interesting that needs to be reported back internally. So after that meeting, the first step is that they will go into the CRM, this is usually Viva, and report this interaction. So here we're looking at the account record, and the MSL will want to report things that are required by their organization. So this might be mode of interaction, length of interaction. And then to report the insight, they'll click on this Go to Kernel link to start inputting the new information and insights that they gathered from their interaction with this KOL. Now what I'll do is give you a live demo of Kernel and what this actual process looks like. So we're going to go over to the live demo site. Here we are in our feedback and insights form. So this is where the MSL lands when they click that Go to Kernel link. Notice at the top there's a bunch of contact information that's already filled in. So Kernel automatically pulls from the CRM so the MSL doesn't have to put this information in twice. Now to capture the insights, the MSL will go to this What Topics Were Discussed field and we'll select a topic. So for the demo, we'll do non-small cell lung cancer. When I select this topic, notice that a set of questions are automatically loaded by Kernel. These are predefined poll questions that have been set up by the medical leadership that they've asked the MSL team to try to gather more information on. So the MSL will then start to go through these questions and answer them. They'll click reply, start selecting the appropriate answer. You can configure these questions to be multiple select or include some additional information or not. If a question was not discussed during an interaction, the MSL can just skip it or click on the Not Discussed button. So they'll continue to fill out these questions. Now, this is great for these predefined poll questions, but what about that gem of a scientific insight that they were able to gather from their meeting? Well, for that, we have this top field insights section. So this is exactly where the MSL will input this information. So here, maybe something like doctor likes current therapy but never prescribes it because it's too expensive. The MSL will then link this to a topic and click post. Once they click post, this goes live into the system for the whole team to view. So now I'm going to show you the topics page for non-small cell lung cancer. This is where you will view all the information that is being gathered by the MSLs in the field. So on the left-hand side, we can expand one of these questions to start looking at this data more closely. Kernel automatically presents this in chart form for you. So you have the option of looking at a bar chart, a pie chart, or a percent graph. Additionally, Kernel automatically breaks this down by recognition level, institution type, and contact role. So depending on your medical strategy, it might be interesting to know how a physician specialist, for example, responds to these questions versus a nurse practitioner. To help you drill down this data further and really get to the information you're after, we've implemented a set of filters. So here, you can filter by role type, institution, thought leader level, or by a date range. So here, back to that example about physician specialist, if I select this filter, Kernel will automatically update this data for you. So once you have this data broken down in the way that you want to present, you can then download this directly from Kernel and get exactly these charts. So you don't have to go into a spreadsheet and start creating your own charts. You click this cloud icon to download this data. You have the option to download as a PDF, a Word document, just as images, or if you do want to make your own chart in Excel, you can capture all of this raw data in a CSV file. So when we go to download, we give you the option of selecting all the questions. You can deselect some if you don't want to include that in your report. You can include the breakdowns, and if you want to keep the KOL information confidential, you can exclude contact details by clicking on this button here. Let's take a look at one of these reports. So here's one that I downloaded earlier. Oftentimes MSL leaders or managers will then present this to their leadership to help them understand what the MSL team has been doing out in the field and also to inform the medical strategy. So now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that's great for those poll questions, but what about for those free text insights? Here in Kernel, these are reported up on the right side. You can click here to see all of them. What we've implemented in Kernel is an upvoting feature. So this allows people on the team to go in and upvote insights that they think are important for the strategy or that might be happening in their region as well. We do this for two reasons. One is to help reduce bias in how you're analyzing the insights. In addition, this helps take the burden off the one person or handful of people that are reading through all these insights. So you can imagine it takes a lot of time to read through a bunch of these and start pulling out the trends. So the idea with the upvoting is to help you with that process. The last report I'll show you today is the Team Insight Summary. So here we're looking at the Team Insight Summary for the oncology team from this date range. You have a graphic at the top giving you some basic data about this topic. So the number of active liaisons, number of interactions they've had, number of interaction hours, poll responses they responded to, and the number of free text field insights that they've input. And then these free text field insights are listed in descending order based off of the number of votes. And again, this is to help you filter through this data. You can also just download this by clicking the cloud icon here. Also point out that we have native apps for iPhone, iPad, and Android that work offline. So an MSL can review the questions that they want to cover during a meeting or input some feedback and insights when they're offline. So you can be on an airplane or in a basement with no internet signal. Every feature that I showed you today is the result of feedback that we've received from our customers. We are 100% dedicated to building you the best possible software to gather insights from all of your external stakeholders. So whether these are HCPs, IDN and payers, or from medical congresses, analyze them and report them internally so that you can demonstrate your value. We're continually getting great feedback from our customers, and this has resulted in a really exciting roadmap for new features for Kernel in 2019. If you want to hear more about those new features or have questions or would like a demo, a customized demo, please reach out to me. You can email me anytime or call or text me. If you're on LinkedIn, please connect. Thank you so much. Looking forward to hearing from you.